Hello, Math 3. Welcome to Lesson 1.3a, where we're going to be talking about z-scores, how to find a z-score. It's not too bad. So to get us started off, again, we're back to these normal distributions. Today we're dealing with some hybrid cars. The fuel efficiency of a sample of hybrid cars is normally distributed with a mean of 54 miles per gallon, mpg, and a standard deviation of 6 miles per gallon. So all I would like you to do is to draw out this curve, and I would like you to fill in the bottom, put in the mean, use the standard deviation to label to the right and label to the left. So hit pause, put it all together, and then hit play when you're ready to check your work. So in this case, my mean is 54. So that's the number that's going to go right in the middle. And of course, then I'm going to add 6 as I move to the right and subtract 6 as I move to the left. So we'll have 54, 60, 66, and 72. And then with that 54 in the middle, as we go left, I will get 48, 42, and 36. So now that you have your curve labeled, I would like you to use your empirical rule that you used in the last lesson to determine the percent of hybrid cars that get less than 60 miles per gallon. Go ahead and hit pause to try it out, and then hit play when you're ready to check your work. So it didn't say to shade it in, but for me, I find it's a little easier if I shade it in. So I'm going to put in my 60 and then shade, 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 because it's everything less than 60. It's all the big, all this, and all the way down to the little weirdos on the end, all that bit down there. Not the best coloring, but you get the idea. So it looks like 60 is one standard deviation away. All right, first things first. I'm going all the way to the tippy end here. I know the whole thing is 100%. I know from 54 down gives me 50%. So I just need, well, this little chunk right in here, right, from 54 to 60. Well, I know from negative 1 sigma to positive 1 sigma that it is 68%. So, of course, if I cut that in half, that gives me 34%. Oh, the handwriting is terrible. So now I can add my 34% plus this whole 50%, which means about 84% of hybrid cars are getting less than 60 miles per gallon. This is great. This is all fine and good when it hits right on a standard deviation like that. But what if it doesn't? What if I have something like this? I know that 50 is the mean. I know one standard deviation away is 60. But what if I'm looking for something like, I don't know, 57 miles per gallon? How many standard deviations from the mean is 57 miles per gallon? Go ahead and hit pause, give it some thought, make a few notes, and then hit play when you're ready to discuss it. So I don't know about you guys, but I noticed that 57 was halfway between my mean, which is a 0 standard deviation, and 60, which is 1 standard deviation away. So I figure that means that 57 would be 0.5 standard deviation greater than the mean. That makes sense? But we need a better way to figure it out, because now you're realizing we can pick anything along this line, and we need a way to find the standard deviation for it. So this number that you just calculated is called a z-score. And a z-score is basically standard deviation units. How far is that specific data's value in distance from the mean? How far is that number from your mean? And we're measuring it in terms of standard deviation. Super easy to find. In order to find your z-score, that standard deviation of the weirdos that aren't right on 1 or right on -2, you're just going to take that value, subtract the mean, and divide by your standard deviation. So let's come back to that problem for just a second if we want to find the z-score here of 57 miles per gallon. Well, I know the mean is 54 We were told earlier that the standard deviation was 6, right? 1 sigma is 6. So I'm going to do 57 minus my mean of 54 and divide by my standard deviation of 6. So if I do that, 57 minus 54 is 3, which means if I divide by 6, I get a half, or 0.50. I will warn you, for our next lesson, you'll see why this is, but you are usually going to round your z-score to 2 digits behind the decimal. Excuse me, on our next lesson, you will see why it is that we do that. So now that you've got the idea, take your number, subtract the mean, divide by your standard deviation, try a few of these out. Go ahead and hit pause to try these 2 out, and then hit play when you're ready to check your work. So let's calculate some z-scores. So if I've got a car that's at 50 miles per gallon, well, I'm going to subtract my mean of 54, divide by my standard deviation of 6. This actually gives me a negative, which is okay. We know standard deviation can go negative. It just means it's moving left. I have 4 over 6, so when I grab my calculator and round to 2 digits behind the decimal, I get negative 0.67. If I do this again for 60 miles per gallon, well, I'm going to subtract my mean, divide by my standard deviation. You probably already knew this one. 6 divided by 6 gives you 1. I'm going to go ahead and put 1.00, but you knew that was 1 standard deviation away. Of course it was. So as always, I hope you found this helpful. If you have questions, please email me or come see me after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll see you soon. Bye.